This.
Hi, welcome back to Plus This. I'm Kathy Deach.
And I am Eva Tingley, and I sound crazy because I am.
Summer
Guys,
colds make you feel boo.
I know. So if I have like a cough attack, just ignore me.
I'm gonna
I have
throw
lots
water
of
on
I have
her.
lots of throat lozenges and water. So
and
don't
she's
worry.
not touching anyone. She's
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm like,
For
hey,
sure.
hey, nice to see you.
Exactly. Usually we do like a little like chitter chatterati before our guest is here.
Chitter chatterati.
Yeah, chitter chatterati. But our guest is so fierce. She's like got a double. Tonight.
Yeah.
She has many things.
So we're doing a backwards show.
So we're doing a little backwards, but we're so excited to have television and movie superstar Retta.
Applause.
Why, thanks.
Welcome.
So
you.
great. Definitely like on the dream guest.
Yes.
For sure. And you have been so busy that I'm lucky enough to know Retta since back in the day, like New York City, Kevin R. Free.
I
from
remember
Duke
watching
stuff.
you on Rosie
Oh my
perform, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's my friend Kevin's friend right there."
And Kevin had invited me to be his guest to your first Comedy Central show.
Oh.
And I had a rehearsal.
I was gonna say you didn't go, huh?
I had a rehearsal. I was in
And you didn't go.
Broadway shows are
How
terrible,
dare
and
you.
they're like, "You will come to rehearsal," and
Yeah.
so I couldn't get out of it, and I pouted the whole time. And
Likely
he
story.
had some, but I watched it, and I laughed like hell in my seat, from my seat, my couch. But we've known each other a long time. But you've been out of the country. You've been
Yeah, you're
across the
so
country.
busy.
You guys, I have a schedule that you wouldn't believe. Yes, it's been a little bit hectic. I was not aware of how much of Hollywood filming does not take place in Hollywood.
Yeah, not anymore,
So,
right?
Yeah, and it's really disconcerting because I want to sleep in my bed and I haven't been able to.
For sure.
This
But
summer I have.
your
So that's nice.
new show on NBC though is shooting here.
No.
What?
Trust me when I say I'm getting my feelings hurt left and right.
No.
No, it's not shooting here. But we're only doing 10 episodes because we're a mid-season
Okay.
premiere. So I don't have to be gone for that long.
That's
5
good.
months.
By the way, it's called Good Girls,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that it is all kinds of different women who are the leads of the show. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Good girls?
Yeah.
So it's 3 moms who, for different, have their own reasons for being completely stressed out and feeling like they're at the end of their rope. And one of them mentions robbing a grocery store that she works at to kind of supplement their income. One quick shot.
At a grocery
And it-
store because they're just loaded all the time, right?
Yeah, and they do, and obviously it doesn't go smoothly. So that is what the pilot episode is about. Them thinking that they're going to be able to solve some of their problems really quickly, and it only creates more problems.
Now, would you consider this show a drama?
Yes.
And-
I would say dramedy. Like Girlfriend's Guide is a dramedy, but there's way more comedy in that than there is in Good Girls.
Right.
So I'm moving closer and closer to a straight up drama.
I know.
Wow.
And To the Bone for sure, which is a Netflix
yes.
movie
That we just watched and we were like text because I was like I can't talk to you because I will have a coughing fit, but let's text all about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that role for you because it was a little bit more like soft for you.
Yeah, I felt like it was the first time I got to play normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I wasn't extra. I just said the lines.
I
if
know
you will.
one of
I
the
didn't-
lines that you had was like, "Oh, we know all the tricks." Like it was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like it was like so great, and I was just like, "Yes."
Yeah,
It's like
I
a
didn't-
normal human being in a normal.
Yeah.
I mean,
felt
not
like
a really
it-
normal environment, but
the,
yeah.
The character was it wasn't about her, and she was in a situation where these people have real problems. So I wasn't there to be da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da,
Right.
unless the situation called for it. But and it didn't.
Yeah, it certainly did.
It never did.
We were aware of it before the movie was released on Netflix because of all of these like body positivity and is this glamorizing anorexia and all this noise that had come up. And there was a really incredible article that Lily Collins had done on Us Weekly,
Right.
where she talks about how a friend of the family, like someone her mother's age,
Right.
said to her, oh, you look amazing. I want to know how you're doing it. And she explained, actually, I'm playing an anorexic and I'm losing weight for the role. And she was like, but who cares? It's working. And she literally got in the car with her
because
mom.
Lily, it really needed to take the pounds off.
Yeah, I mean, she really was such a fatty, honestly.
It was just so crazy that it was like, oh, yes, that you're going for extreme thin. That's what I want. Can you tell me how?
Yeah, it's like saying, I'm going through chemo. It's been really tough. I've been losing weight. You're
Yeah.
like, but it's working.
But girl, you're so thin.
It's working.
Exactly. Your hair's falling out. It's
That
okay.
cat suit looks amazing.
Oh my God, so
You're
terrible.
like, but I have no hair. What the?
I mean, one of the parts in To the Bone that just like rocked me to my core was when she grabs her hand
yes, that's
around
that
the
thing.
upper part of, I mean, I can't even do that on my wrist, guys.
I know, can
Like
I do
my
it?
wrist, there's no
I can't do
fat
it.
on my wrist. I literally can't even do that on my
I can barely
wrist.
do
either.
it. I
I
can
can't
barely
either.
do it.
No, I
Barely
literally
do it.
can't. And so I was
No, I
like,
can do
I
it.
was like, oh my
That just
God,
made me
oh
really
my
sad
God.
just now that you brought it up, and I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I've never tried.
No,
Girl, you got that Bang & Watch on. I
that's
think
true.
you'll be okay.
That's true.
That's why I can't do it.
Exactly. All the bling on.
I know. I just have all this bling on. I can't possibly get my hand around it.
Amazing. Yeah, but the criticism about it is fascinating because I feel like it comes from people not really wanting to accept that anorexia is a problem
Right.
and that thinness is thinness
Right.
and that's the way it should be.
Right.
So then you see this movie that like talks about it being a problem, or they expect anorexia to be like the Holocaust. Do you know what I mean? Like they want people to be tortured and
Right.
and on the verge of death the whole time. Where that movie had comedy in it, you saw them have joy.
I mean, they also did have, they were also tortured, but they did show like what real life is. Like when things
Right.
go bad, you still are laughing about
Right.
whatever's happening also in your life.
I mean, you still have a personality.
Right.
It's just that a part of that personality just can't get over this one thing. And so it becomes your everything, essentially. But, I mean, it's always in the back of your mind. You're always thinking, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. But, oh my God, what are you wearing?
Yeah.
You're still a person living in a life.
right,
and
right.
transitioning into what I feel like we've talked about on the show, and I'm wondering if you have the same thing. Like, it's in food obsession for all shapes and sizes. Like,
Yeah, it's like not only for anorexics.
like I feel like I know so many people, including myself, I thank God have had a bit of relief from it. But food obsession, like really, like always negotiating with a plate. In front of
I
you.
never realized that I had it. It didn't dawn on me until I was with a good friend of mine who is very aware of her food addiction, and she would talk about it. She's like, it's a sickness, la maladie, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. La maladie. And I was like, and then I realized I would have moments because people always be like, you never eat. Yeah, because I go all day. I don't eat. And then I gorge myself at night. And that's bad too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that as much. Now I eat all the time. But that was my thing. Like, in other words, they're like, how are you so big? You never eat.
Girl.
And I was like,
People
come to
said
my
that-
house.
Listen, people would say that to me in Footloose all the time. They'd be like, I don't know how you do 8 shows a week dancing like that and are still your size. And I'm kind of like, well, first of all, it's none of your fucking business. Second of all, maybe it's not really food. Maybe it's metabolism.
Right,
Maybe
yeah.
it's I have a lot of muscle. Maybe it's, you know what I mean? Like they expected me to be 2.5 pounds because I was a dancer. So yeah, it is really fascinating. And I think that what I loved about the movie, which it sounds like people are having trouble with, is that everybody seemed normal except for that thing.
Right.
Like, and I think that it makes people check in with themselves about who is in their life that could have that issue.
Well, and like that doesn't, just because you're anorexic doesn't mean that you are to that extreme. There are anorexics who look like us.
Yeah, that are they're anorexics trying to get to that space and can't.
Right.
Yes.
And are killing themselves with whatever. There are bulimics that do
Right.
it. It's they're not all quote unquote what they would call successes.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I found it fascinating that people had such an issue about
When
that.
you were younger, like I wasn't ever. I started getting bigger when I went to college, but I was always like thick. I was always, I was a cheerleader, but I was like, I wasn't the biggest. There was another girl who had way more butt than me. Yeah.
I would
Oh
have
my God,
been
I was
so
totally
jealous
gonna
of
say her
her.
name. I was totally gonna just say her name.
She had her like skirt. She had her skirt where it was like,
this Italian girl, and she was thick as hell, and she had these crazy, like so much boobs. I was like, God bless. I mean, because if I would try to do a cartwheel with those boobs, there's no way I'd make it out alive. But she's like, she would strap those puppies in. She could do it. But I remember when I was younger, like I was like, God, I used to be like, especially with after school specials, I would always be like, I wish I could be anorexic. Like I wish I could I wish I could do it. And
I wish I had
and
the
it's like,
discipline
I wish
to
I had
starve
the other
myself.
problem. So
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to be on the other end of the crazy spectrum.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I wished I could puke. I wished I could puke. I have no gag
That
reflex.
totally gross,
You're
yeah.
welcome.
Oh, that is not true for me.
Yeah, really not true.
I am gagging.
I fight with my toothbrush every day.
Me too. Me too.
I'm like,
Me
why are
too.
you so aggressive?
No, Peter's like, "Are you okay in there?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just brushing my hole."
Oh my God, that is hysterical. I didn't get that gene. I didn't
Yeah.
get that
Well,
gene.
lucky for your next boyfriend. Oh. Hey, call me. Call Kathy.
Call me. 888 deep throat. Yeah. Terrible. It's terrible.
Oh my
thing.
God,
My family
that's
watches the
amazing.
show. You'd never know.
No, your entire family.
So we also want to talk about the thrill that is Parks and Rec. I mean, I feel like now that it is also on Netflix, it has created an entire new group of people who are obsessed with the show. I mean, they are binging that.
Yeah,
like
well, that's the
hell.
thing with TV now is that people can put stuff on the back burner and be like, I'll get to it later, and then it's a whole new experience. They're experiencing it from the beginning, unlike the rest of us who are like, hello, where you been? You know what I mean? There's just so many shows, so many platforms. So it doesn't, you don't have to wait for DVD because
Oh,
it's
no.
kind of in
and
your house.
they go
Yeah.
all out. They go every time it says the next episode. Yes, yes, yes.
Right.
And I actually contacted you after this happened to me when Treat Yourself was like the big episode. And I was at the Grove, which is like this outdoor mall for people who've never been to LA. And I'm like walking in the farmer's market, and these two, like, they could not have been whiter. These two, they had frat shirts on, maybe even like a Kansas hat on, and literally were like, treat yourself. And they were did like an entire bit of it. And I was like, oh my God, Retta. Like, this has like turned into like a humongous thing.
Yeah, it's I mean, I tell this story a lot that I used to do this thing where if I went to lunch with somebody, I would be like, all right, so if we search Treat Yourself, the last time it was tweeted, if it was within 7 minutes, you pay for lunch. If it was longer than 7 minutes, I pay for lunch. I've never paid for lunch.
Oh!
And I bet you if you try to do it now, it would probably be within 10, 12
I'm going to look it
minutes.
up. I'm
We're
going to look it
up.
up.
And you know what?
12
We
minutes.
have to take a break, so it's like totally perfect. We'll have
Well,
the
yeah.
answer to that when we come back with Retta. Are you going to jimmy the system and do Treat Yourself now?
I know. Don't ruin it, guys. Oh, busted. So I did it both, and Retta's like, oh, so I did the hashtag. I looked up the hashtag Treat Yourself, and she's like, oh, no, you got to look up the hashtag and separately. I'm like, oh, so it's both. But either way, Retta owes us lunch.
It's been an hour.
But it's
been
been
an hour.
That's pretty amazing.
No, it's pretty amazing
Yeah.
considering that when did that come out?
That episode probably aired 7 years ago.
I know, so like an hour ago.
7 years ago.
Maybe 6 years ago.
Wow.
Maybe 6 years ago.
Wow. And you've
Wow.
been pretty candid about how you like that you kind of graduated from the let's bang it out in 5 lines a character and like how like you've kind of passed the sassy baton on. Like
I mean, I ran away from the sassy baton. I wasn't you know, I didn't want to hold it at all because it's like I feel like that's the only character a person who looks like me ever gets, you know, and it's always like the sassy meter maid, the sassy receptionist, the sassy nurse, you know, it's always been that. And so Parks kind of let me have a different kind of personality than I usually get called in to do. And that's a product of Mike Schur wanting, you know, the characters to be fully formed human beings. Even though we were silly, you know, it was a comedy,
oh my gosh,
but
hilarious.
able to be more fleshed out or whatever. So I have been lucky since then to not be. I still had people wanting to put me in that category.
But you get to say thanks.
And I've gotten I've gotten to a place where I am like, yeah. And my managers at this and reps at this point are like, well, here's the offer, but I know you're gonna wanna no. So
I love that. I love that you have that support.
It's nice to be in that.
It's hard.
place now.
I mean,
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about it because
A
we
lot
go out
about
for
it.
a lot of the same parts.
and some of it is absolutely ridiculous.
I mean,
And
I
we
say
have
that
to
my
say no.
pigeonhole is mom or prostitute. It's like one or the other. I don't really get
Really?
anywhere in between. Just mom or prostitute. That's it. I was like, that's my typecasting.
Yeah, for sure. And every character of mine has to have food in her hand in some kind
Really?
of way, or has to be obsessing about food.
Well, our thing, remember we talked about, I just hated that I would go and do something and the clothes didn't fit. And I'm like,
Yes.
isn't this your
Talk
job?
about that. You know,
Isn't
Yeah.
this your job?
Donovan Champlin was here from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and she was like bursting at the seams to talk about it because she's never had anyone to talk about her stuff, about going to photo shoots and giving her sizes.
like literally
Yeah.
giving her measurements and then not bringing anything bigger than an 8.
I recently did something where I told them where to order from, because that's all I do pretty much now, is because there are no brick and mortar stores that are selling plus size clothes.
Exactly.
You know,
Right.
so if I gotta drive 20 minutes, which I did yesterday to go buy stuff for my vacation. But I have this, I told them where to order from, and we knew about this photo shoot for months, and they had nothing. They had gone to like Macy's, and I was like, I'm not wearing anything with flowers on it. I'm not wearing that. I did that. I did that in college. I'm over the floral thing. And I like some pieces, but I'm just like, I can't, and all the weird patterns. No, I want what I like to wear. And I've worked hard to find it. And I told you where to find it. And you didn't do your due diligence. And so I was in a photo shoot, and I was like, am I really going to have to wear my own clothes? I was so pissed. Like my publicist was like, maybe we can send so-and-so to go get more of your stuff at your house. I'm like, I don't want somebody to have to go and figure out how to get into my garage, get into my lobby, get upstairs, go searching through my closet.
Right.
Well,
because
by the
this
way-
person who's getting paid to do this
Didn't follow
do their
instructions.
job.
Is
Didn't
refusing
follow
to.
their instructions. Like,
I can't
seriously.
tell you how many times I've worn my own clothes on stuff.
Oh my God. That's all I do is wear my own clothes.
Oh, well, on sets for sure. I mean, like,
And now it's not the case. You know, it's not the case. But
is that something you feel like you had to put into your contract, though, in order to get it?
no. But now I get to the point where I'm like, this is on you. So I'm like, this shirt isn't closing, and they want to shoot. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I had that happen.
Well, I would think with Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce, I mean, that is such
they
a
worked
style
hard
show.
because
Yeah.
they have to make someone who it's hard to dress look good. So
Yeah.
I gave them places that I shop. They found places, and they made it work. And you know, sometimes I'd be like, "There's so many things." There's a lot of things. You know, not everything is for you. It's not your style. So I'd be like, no. And then there's some stuff where I'd looked at it and I was like, no, and it was there. I was like, I'll try it on. Then I'm like, oh snap!
Yeah. Sometimes Yeah.
You done changed my mind. You
That's
opened
right.
my eyes.
It's a whole new world.
Right? Right?
I was like, I have to fit that into my repertoire.
Well, Canada,
That's right.
Canada is killing it, though. Canada is way ahead of
Nope.
the U.S. You don't think
Nope.
so?
For clothing?
We
For
feel-
plus size clothing?
We
Whoa,
feel
sorry.
like-
I
couldn't
just,
find
I just
anything
got
that was
like
there.
really excited in this
Well, and
microphone.
well, we obviously aren't in Canada doing it, but online we have found that there's a lot more Canadian.
Oh,
online
you're going to have
countries.
to. Oh, okay. So there's not, they don't have a lot of brick and mortar, but it's really, wait, in Canada?
Yes, yeah.
You're going to have to show me because I could not find anything. We would shop here and they would ship it.
Oh, online.
Wow.
Online in Canada, there's a lot.
There's a lot.
For
it
sure.
costs more money to
'Cause I
ship it to
even-
you.
Yeah, to ship it to here.
Yeah.
But I guess if you were
That's
in-
so weird because I couldn't find anything while I was up there because I was so bored when I had downtime because everybody would go home when they were off. So I was like, I'm not flying back and forth. So I'd be, in Canada when
Right.
I had downtime. And so all I wanted to do was shop. And only thing I could do was buy handbags because they always fit.
Girl, next time you gotta text us because
yeah.
we know
And
them all.
usually- Really?
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
we were all like, oh,
I know.
shipping to the United
Shipping.
States.
We should have called you and been like, "Girl, go to the store, pick it up, fly
Yeah.
it back."
But I don't think those stores they're not in Vancouver. They might be on the
Toronto
East Coast.
side.
Oh, maybe.
But they're
maybe.
not in Vancouver
That might be
because
true.
I searched. I tweeted
Well,
out, and there
no,
were
Cherry
Canadians.
Velvet is
there
in
were
In
Vancouver.
Vancouver, yeah.
There were Canadians who were like, I could not find clothes.
Wow.
And so I was like, where can I go? And like the drive was so far that I was like, I'm not driving an hour to go.
That's a shame.
You know,
I mean, we gotta
you
get
you're
together.
going to have to send me
Yeah.
because
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure
we'll
I'll be
let
up
you
in
know.
Vancouver
There's one
again.
called Sexy Plus, but I feel like they're in. They might be a Toronto.
And maybe in
company.
Toronto, yeah.
Well, but we'll go through. Go through our
Like,
Instagram.
trust, we know them.
I mean, I'm obsessed, and all I do is look at dresses all day
Me too.
on
Same,
Instagram.
same.
yeah.
Get it together.
You know-
Someone please get rid of some stuff. Just send
Yeah,
her some
send
shit.
her stuff
Once
Send
to
her
Canada.
some shit.
Once you find like I was so scared of clothes. I didn't want to put on stuff because I just thought it was terrible. So I was wanting to wear big, loose, whatever. And then I had lost like a little bit of weight, and my friend made me go to Dress Barn, and I was like, "Girl, what we gonna get a Dress Barn?" And she's
I
like,
just
"Just
judged.
try."
I just
Totally.
judged,
So
yeah.
she's like, "Just try." And there was this dress. I realized I like a swing dress, and I'm an A-line. I never knew because I didn't care.
Right,
Because I'm
right.
like, I'm just wearing a big shirt over some jeans.
Right,
I
right.
never wanted to wear dresses. Now I live for a dress
Dresses
because
are
it's
my
only
favorite.
one piece.
Right.
And it's light as
Oh.
a feather.
And so my friend was like, just try these on. And I couldn't believe that. I guess I didn't believe that I had lost weight, one. And this is when I'm wearing a 24. It's not like I was svelte. I'm not small. And I'm back to the 24. But I had just lost a little bit of weight. And so I remember putting on this dress, and I was like, it accentuated my boobs. It looked like I realized I was hot on an empire.
Yeah,
Back then I
that's
was hot
right.
on an
you find your
empire.
shape and you're
Yeah,
all
yeah.
in.
And it changes, my vibe changes now. Now I feel like I have a broader spectrum to choose from because I'm not afraid of looking a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
Right,
like,
right.
oh, this is gonna look bad, and you're like, I'm sorry, have you seen this material? This
Yes.
is hot.
Yeah.
So it opened my eyes, and I will always credit my friend Shalisa
Aw,
for
yay,
Thanks,
for
Shalisa.
opening my eyes to like find something else to try something.
Yeah.
That's great.
At the dress barn.
At the dress
At the
barn,
dress
no
barn, and I
less.
cleaned up. I bought a lot of stuff.
Because you could get a sale
Yeah.
at Dress Barn.
Yeah.
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 Amazing. Well, one of our dear friends and your dear friend, she's been on our show. She was one of our first guests.
Yes.
Last season, Rosa
Rosa,
Graziano. Her question was, she wants to know how you pack so much stuff in your magical suitcase. She's waiting for it.
Oh, well, I've what's she talking about? My carry-on? Because I learned that you have to have at least one outfit for the next day in the carry-on. Like you have to have.
Yeah, because
that.
if they
That
lose
gets-
it, if
Yeah,
you lose
then
it,
you have nothing.
Yeah.
But I plan out my days, so I know what I'm going to wear, or generally I know to plan at least to plan 2 shirts to 1 pants, never 1 to 1 because it's just going to fill up your suitcase.
Too much.
Rosa, our dear friend, Rosa is like, I'm gonna take all this. I don't know how I'm gonna feel. And I'm like, I have to decide before I go how
Oh,
I'm gonna
see,
feel.
I'm very much like Rosa. I'm like, I don't know. I need options. I need to be like, I don't know. I might want this like gauzy dress, but I might want this structured dress. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel that day. I gotta bring both.
I have to know what's going to happen.
Rosa, I feel you,
I
sister.
have to know what's going to happen, and so I can plan for that. I don't have because nothing makes me crazier than coming back from a trip having not worn something. Even if it's shoes.
No, I've done that too.
Even if it's shoes.
I've been mad too, going to the
everything.
East Coast
And I'm like,
for sure.
Because
when
I'm
it's
like,
cold.
one, I could have bought something and fit it in here because I just wasted space and breaking my back trying to carry this suitcase, and I'm not wearing all this shit.
See, I'm like, it's okay. I didn't wear it. I'll just hang it right back up.
No.
When I have to
Not
go
mad about
back
it. Not
east
mad
and
about
it's
it.
cold and I have like a sweater or a pair of jeans I never wore once, I'm just like you. I'm like,
exactly.
and
But
I leave stuff at my parents' house all the time.
That's one of the differences between me and Rosa, because Rosa also keeps all those red notices on her phone and doesn't clear stuff out.
That makes me nuts.
And I'm like, I want every red circle
Me too.
off
But
my
there's only
dang phone.
two people. Like my mom has on her iPhone. I can't even look at it. Like literally 2,800 and something
I've seen
emails. I'm like,
30,000.
how?
I'm like, that's when you have to just go in and shut it
you
off.
just delete. You get rid of the email
Delete
account.
everything.
You need to hire someone to go through and
No,
start
how do you?
deleting.
That makes me anxious. Like first of all, Kathy and I share an inbox, and I was like, look. I have this is my thing. If there's nothing left to do on it, we need to get it out of the inbox. It cannot be in the inbox.
She can't stand it.
Because it feels like there's something I
Right
need
now,
to do.
there's like 5 in there, and she cannot.
No, and
handle
I'm like, honestly,
She's
do we
itching.
really need need all of these?
itching.
I'm
I'm at the
feeling
point-
like I want to get rid of them all.
I'm at the point, like I'm bad. Like I need to check Twitter, make sure I looked at all the at mentions. Not that I'm going
Right?
to reply, but
No, but just
look at
look.
all the. I go to Snapchat. I'm like, let me read all the messages. I go to Instagram's the hard one because I have the most followers on that. So I'm like, go real quick. Let me go real quick. But I feel like I'm not. People sent me these messages. I need to at least look at it.
Right, sure.
And then I
sure.
decide you're crazy. I'm going to block you.
Right,
But
right.
you know what I mean?
which is helpful. Too.
Yes,
the block,
yes,
the block
yes.
button is a helpful thing. And there was
Oh.
another question.
Yes. So, well, there's several questions from Miss Tiffany, who I think what's fun is, okay, she says, you're clearly a force of nature regarding perfect comedic timing. Is comedy your first love?
I enjoy comedy. I don't know that it's my first love. I mean, I do stand up. I don't do it as
You
much
also
now.
sing.
I sing. Acting is really my love. So right now I'm in that drama vibe, and so I'm really feeling that, and I'm really liked what I got to do in this upcoming season of Girlfriend's Guide. I'm really excited about this new show because I feel like people get to see me in a different light because they knew me as a stand-up, and then they saw me in comedies, in parks, and then appearing in different things, but usually a comedy. And so I'm finally getting to a place where I can, flex a different muscle. And I like it, I had to cry so much in the pilot that I was like, it's so cathartic. Who needs a therapist? Just join a drama.
And the next day, you kind of glow a little.
Yeah.
You have that like no toxin glow
Right,
in your
yeah.
face. I used to like that in acting class. I would always go to my Meisner class, which is all like this deep repetition and like drama. And oh my God, I'd be like a pile of mush and then sleep like the dead.
Right.
And the
for
next day,
sure.
people would be like, you look so great. And I was like, I know. I cried my head off.
If I did a drama, I'd be like, hey, we got to schedule the scenes to closer to the full moon because I'm really emotional during the full moon. Can we schedule that way? I'll really hit those notes.
So I do love comedy, and I love good comedy. But I just like performing. I just like working with people. I like doing a scene when you're like,
Yeah, it's just
you
like
know.
feels so
great.
good.
It really does. But now, do you feel like you became a stand-up because you wanted to get acting opportunity? Is that why you did it?
I wanted my original need was to have my own sitcom, and at the time, all those sitcoms were the leads were comics. I felt like they were just giving out shows to comedians, so I was like, oh well, I'll just do stand-up, and maybe I'll get my own show. And that's why I started doing stand-up. It
Well,
wasn't.
your comedy is so brilliant and so smart, and that's what's so amazing. And I think that's why I wouldn't even necessarily cast you as the sassy girl first, because your stand-up is so like, give me a break. It's so like, oh no, I'm going to tell you about yourself.
Right.
You know, which is like not really sassy. It's like truth-telling. So, I mean,
And the thing is, it's not that I don't have a problem with sassy. I have a problem with the laziness of not going beyond that. That's all people ever say to me. Like, sassy doesn't bother me. I can be sassy, but when you assume that's all I got.
That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I love.
That's what makes me
Listen,
crazy.
I love that you get to have all these colors. Please go watch To the Bone. That's on Netflix now. Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce. When does that start back up?
August 17th.
Oh my God! 2 days for my birthday.
Yeah.
We're about to have a watching party and have a fabulous trip. She's taking a well-deserved.
Oh my gosh,
vacation.
she's telling us all about it before the show, and I was like,
she's living our dreams.
okay,
She's
but
living
tell
our
everybody
dreams.
who's not following you, who's crazy, how they can follow. I mean, I don't know how no one's following. They're not following you yet. But.
On Twitter, Instagram, and Snap, I am unforrettable. UNFORETTABLE.
So clever.
Even though people can see that and they still spell my name with an H. And then, like, I have a Facebook fan page that I post to, and I get messages on there too. I get a
And
lot
she reads
of
them.
people.
She
I
reads
do
them.
read
She may not respond, but she does read
yeah,
them.
but sometimes I get overwhelmed. But I get a lot of, will you marry us?
Oh.
Oh,
or
they see
or do the
something.
prom, do
like
the prom
from-
thing.
Like from the United States or like from other countries? I have a lot of fans
United
from the
States.
other countries.
No. Not will I marry them? Will I perform their marriage? Will I go online?
like will
and-
you
Yeah.
get
That's
Officiate.
interesting. They
Yeah.
see you
Oh.
as like
Isn't
this.
that weird though?
like
Yes,
yeah.
like a very pastoral
Preacher,
position.
preacher.
That's
I
right.
love it.
Preach. That's right. That's right. And
Thank you.
obviously the good girls, not
Good
the
girls.
good girls.
That'll-
Just
that'll-
good
yeah.
girls.
That'll start in January on NBC.
Amazing. Oh my God. All Retta all the time,
so
guys.
full. Your life is
You're
so
the
full.
best. Thank you for making
Thank
the time
you.
for
Yeah,
us.
no